Let's learn or review first the basics. The strings are numbered 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. These spaces are called frets. So this is first fret, second fret, third fret, fourth fret, and so on. So this whole thing is the fretboard. For a more detailed discussion about the parts of the guitar, click this link for that lesson. The left hand fingers are notated. 1 for the index finger, 2 for the middle finger, 3 for the ring finger, and 4 the small finger. This is a chord box. It is a representation of the fingerboard held upright. The vertical lines are the strings. The horizontal lines are the knot and these fret wires. When a chord box is filled with data, then it is a diagram for a chord. This is a diagram for C major chord. The dots represent the left hand fingertips. The number on a dot represent the finger to use. So as shown in this diagram, we have your index finger on the second string at first fret, middle finger on the fourth string at second fret, and ring finger on the fifth string at third fret. But the first string and the third strings are marked with O, so they are left open and they are part of the chord. But the sixth string has letter X next to it, so the sixth string is not part of the chord and is not to be played, so it is called dead string. So the sixth string is a dead string for C major chord. So you only strum 5 strings. Now let's get to know the chords. There are 8 chords. Let's learn the chords in the order of their use in the song. First is A major. A major is usually played with 1, 2, 3 fingers. And so you have your index finger on the fourth string at second fret, middle finger on the third string at second fret, ring finger on the second string at second fret. So all 3 fingers at second fret. And the first string as well as the fifth strings are left open, as shown in this diagram. And the sixth string is marked with an X, so this is dead string. So you only strum 5 strings. But A major can also be played using 2, 3, 4 fingers, which is my preferred fingering for this song for easier and smoother transition to the next chord. So with this 2, 3, 4 fingers, your middle finger on the fourth string at second fret, ring finger on the third string at second fret, and pinky on the second string at second fret. And your index finger is left idle. And also, you have 2 open strings, the first string and the fifth string. Of course, the sixth is dead string, so you strum 5 strings. To transition to the next chord, which is E major, all you have to do is move the middle and the ring fingers 1 string up. The pinky has to let go, and your index finger gets into position on the third string at first fret. So this is E. As shown in this diagram, you have your index finger on the third string at first fret, middle finger on the fifth string at second fret, ring finger on the fourth string at second fret, and the first, second, and the sixth strings are marked with O next to them. So these 3 strings are left open. So there's no dead string for this chord. Next chord is F sharp minor. You see 4 dots, numbered 1 on the first, second, third, and sixth strings. This means you use the pad of the index finger to press these strings at second fret. And then, reading the diagram, the dot numbered 3, which is your ring finger, on the fifth string at fourth fret here. And lastly, the dot numbered 4, that is your small finger, on the fourth string at fourth fret too. There's no string marked with an X, and there's no string marked with letter O. So all the strings are fingered. Next chord is A dominant 7th or A7. This chord is usually played with 1 and 2 fingers, but I suggest using other set of fingers, 2 and 3, your middle finger and the ring finger, which is what is shown on this diagram. So the middle finger on the 4th string at 2nd fret, ring finger on the 2nd string at 2nd fret, and the 1st, 3rd, and the 5th strings are left open, and the 6th string is marked with an X, so it's a dead string for this chord. I prefer to use 2 and 3 fingers for smoother and easier transition to the next chord. So to transition to the next chord, which is D major, all you have to do is bring these 2 fingers 1 string down. So you have your middle finger on the 3rd string at 2nd fret and your ring finger on the 1st string at 2nd fret, which is what is shown on this diagram. With one more finger, the small finger on the 2nd string at 3rd fret. And the 4th string is marked with letter O, so this is left open, but the 5th and the 6th strings are marked with X, so these 2 strings are dead. So you only strum 4 strings. Next chord is D minor, and to transition from D major to D minor, all you have to do is take out the ring finger and position your index finger on the 1st string at 1st fret. That's it. And as the diagram shows, the 4th string is open, but the 5th and the 6th strings are dead. Next chord is G major. Your index finger on the 5th string at 2nd fret, middle finger on the 6th string at 3rd fret, and your ring finger on the 1st string at 3rd fret. The 2nd, the 3rd, and the 4th strings are marked with O, so they are left open. So no dead strings. Next chord is B dominant 7th or B7. Index finger on the 4th string at 1st fret, middle finger on the 5th string at 2nd fret, ring finger on the 3rd string at 2nd fret, and your small finger on the 1st string at 2nd fret. The 2nd string is marked with letter O, so it's left open, but the 6th string is marked with X, so the 6th is dead string. So you strum 5 strings. Now let's discuss the playing time of each of these chords. If the tempo is 1, 2, 3, 4, then 8-note counting would be 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. Now let's begin with the intro. Although the intro is played with riff twice, which I'm going to discuss later, if you're playing the rhythm guitar, then you can just play it with these chords. A major on the 1st measure, E major on the 2nd measure, back to A major on the 3rd measure, and back to E major on the 4th measure. So the intro has 4 measures, and I would suggest whole note rhythm for the intro. So here it goes. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. Now let's talk about the next part. The song is actually in the form of A-B. It actually goes like this. So we have the intro, and then it's followed by A, and then B, then A again, and then B. Then you have the instrumental part, which is actually an A without the lyrics, and then it's followed by B. And then one more line is added to end the song. Now let's talk about the A part. The A has 2 lyric lines, but each lyric line for A part has the same chord progression. And that chord progression is this. You have the A major, E major, F sharp minor, A dominant 7th, D major, D minor, and lastly A major. So that's the chord progression for each lyric line of A part. And talking about the playing time of each of these chords, the first lyric line has 4 measures. But you have A major and E major on the first measure. So it's a split measure. A major right at count 1, E major at count 3. And on the second measure, you have F sharp minor at count 1, A seventh right at count 3. And on the third measure, you have D major on the first count and D minor on the third count. And on the last measure, you have A major for the whole measure. So the first 3 measures of this lyric line are split measures. The fourth measure is not. So it goes like this: 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 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 that's for the first lyric line. But A part has 2 lyric lines. So you're going to do the same progression one more time. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. So that's how to play the A part. Now let's talk about the B part. The B part has 2 lyric lines, but it has only one sequence of chords. And these chords are F sharp minor, and then followed by D major. But for this D major, you can play it with 1, 2, 3 fingers. And then it's followed by G major, A major, and then F sharp minor, and then B dominant 7th, and then D minor, and then A major. And the playing time of each of these chords is 1 measure each. So it goes like this: 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 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 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. So for this B part, you can actually play D with 1, 2, 3 fingers and D minor with 1, 2, 3 fingers also. But for the A part, I suggest that you play D with 2, 3, 4 finger combination, so that it's easier to transition to D minor, as you only have to position your index finger on the first string at first fret and then take out the ring finger. The others, the middle and the small finger, stay on the same positions. So from D major to D minor. And the appropriate basic rhythmic pattern for these A-B parts is 8-note rhythm. And the strumming pattern is alternate strokes. So for 8-note rhythm and alternate strokes, you have downstroke at count 1, at count 2, at count 3, and at count 4. And you have upstrokes in between those beat counts. So on the ends, 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. So if we put them together, it goes like this: 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. Now to demonstrate 8-note rhythm for part A, it goes like this: 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 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 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. And to demonstrate 8-note rhythm for part B, it goes like this. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 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 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. So the sequence of the song is this: intro, part A, part B, but before going back to part A, there's an interlude. And that interlude is where you have the riff one more time. It's just played once. So all you have to do is just play A major chord once on whole note rhythm, and then E major chord for one measure. So that's it for the interlude. And there's another interlude after the last part of the song, which is a B, going to the last line, to the very last line. So again, to play that interlude, just play A major for one measure on whole note rhythm and E major chord for one measure on whole note rhythm. And then after this, you have the last line of the song, which is played with this chord D minor, but it's actually played for two measures. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. So you have to hold the sound for two measures long with just one strum. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. And then the outro of the song is also the riff, but just one round. And again, just play A major chord for one measure on whole note rhythm. And finally, you have E major chord also for one measure. And to end the song, just play A major chord one more time. And just hold the sound as long as you can. For more detailed discussion on basic rhythmic patterns like whole note, half note, quarter note, and 8-note rhythm, click this link for that lesson. Now let's talk about the riff. The riff is played twice for the intro, once as an interlude prior to the instrumental part, and another one as an interlude after the instrumental part, and then lastly as an outro. So you'll have to play the riff a total of 5 times. So the riff goes like this. The first note is on the 3rd string at 6th fret. The second note is on the 1st string at 5th fret. The third note is back on the 3rd string played at 6th fret, but this time you'll be using a slide left hand technique. And that means as you pick the 3rd string at this time, you'll have to slide to the next fret to create that sound. And then it's followed by a note on the same string at 9th fret. And then it's followed by a note on the 2nd string at the same fret, 9th fret also. And then to end the riff, just play the 6th string open. So the whole sequence goes like this. And you're going to play it twice for the intro. So it goes like this. And as an interlude, you are just going to play it once or one round. But of all these friends. And then another time as an interlude just before the very last line of the song. So you have to play it one more time, just one round. In my life, I love you Then you're going to play the riff again for the very last time, just one round. But you're going to add this part. You still have to play a couple of double stops and a couple of notes. The first one is a double stops. You play the third and the second strings right at 9th fret. And then the first note is on the second string at 7th fret. And then the second note is again on the second string at 9th fret. And then the last double stop is third string at 9th fret, second string at 10th fret. So that part is like this. So together with the last time the riff is played, it goes like this. I hope you enjoyed and learned something from this tutorial. If so, please click the like button. And I'm counting on your subscription to this channel. Please subscribe so you'll never miss any tutorial. And you help me grow this channel. Teacher Bob, thank you for watching.
Subscribe to get notified for latest upload.
Thank you for watching.